Thomas Luther Luke Bryan, born July 17, 1976, is an American country singer, songwriter, and television personality. Personal life. Bryan is married to Caroline Boyer. They married on December 8, 2006, and have 2 sons together. They live in Williamson County, near Nashville. They named their house Red Bird Farm after Luke's older sister, Kelly, died. The design was inspired by the barn at Blackberry Farms in Walland, Tennessee. In 2007, Bryan's older sister Kelly died unexpectedly at home of unknown causes. My only older siblings, gone from the world, in a flash, in two different, crazy, tragic manners that we'll never know and never understand. Luke Bryan. After Kelly's husband Ben Lee Cheshire died in 2014, Bryan and his wife began raising their nephew and taking care of their nieces. The combined losses of his brother and sister inspired the performance of Bryan's single Drink a Beer, written by Chris Stapleton. In 2015, Forbes estimated Bryan's annual income at $42.5 million. Early life. Luke Bryan was born in Leesburg, Georgia, to LeClaire and Tommy Bryan, who owned a peanut farm. Shortly before Luke was going to move to Nashville at age 19, his elder brother Chris was unexpectedly killed in a car accident. His mother, LeClaire, had made a statement. "We knew Luke at some point would come to Nashville," his mother said. "But you can't leave your family, and I couldn't bear the thought of him being away." Instead, Luke went to college at Georgia Southern University in Statesboro, Georgia, where he joined the Sigma Chi fraternity, briefly dated his future wife Caroline, and graduated in 1999 with a bachelor's degree in business administration. Luke reconnected with Caroline several years later when he was performing at a bar in Statesboro when she was in town, later resuming their relationship and eventually marrying. 2 years after graduating from college, Bryan finally made it to Nashville when his father urged him to pack his truck to pursue a music career. He initially gained success as a songwriter, but soon after signed as a performer. His first major success was All My Friends Say. Music career. 2006 to 2009, I'll Stay Me. Bryan performing in 2008. Soon after his arrival in Nashville, Bryan joined a publishing house in the city. Among his first cuts was the title track of Travis Tritt's 2004 album My Honky Tonk History. He was later signed by Capitol Nashville to a recording contract. In the meantime, Bryan co-wrote Billy Currington's single Good Directions, which went to number 1 on the Hot Country Songs chart in mid-2007. Bryan co-wrote his debut single, All My Friends Say, with producer Jeff Stevens. This song reached a peak of number 5 on the Hot Country Songs chart. In August 2007, Capitol Nashville released Bryan's debut album, I'll Stay Me. Bryan wrote or co-wrote all but one of its 11 songs. The album's second single, We Rode in Trucks, peaked at number 33 while Countryman reached number 10. 2009 to 2011, Doin' My Thing. Bryan in 2010. On March 10, 2009, he released an EP titled Spring Break with All My Friends that featured 2 new songs, Sorority Girls and Take My Drunk Ass Home, plus an acoustic version of All My Friends Say. After this EP, he released his 4th single, Do I, in May 2009. Bryan wrote the song with Charles Kelly and Dave Haywood of Lady A, whose lead singer Hillary Scott also sings backing vocals on it. The song reached number 2 on the Hot Country Songs chart. Do I was included on Bryan's second album, Doin' My Thing, which was released in October 2009. Also included on the album was a cover of OneRepublic's Apologize. Bryan wrote the album's next 2 singles, Rain Is a Good Thing and Someone Else Calling You Baby, with Dallas Davidson and Jeff Stevens, respectively. Both of these songs went to number 1 on the country music charts. AllMusic gave this album a positive review as well, with Stephen Thomas Erlewine considering Bryan more relaxed in comparison to his debut. On February 26, 2010, Bryan released a second EP titled Spring Break 2, Hangover Edition, which featured 3 new songs, Wild Weekend, Cold Beer Drinker, and I'm Hungover. Citation needed. While Bryan is mainly known as a country music singer, he has explored other genres like alternative rock with his cover of Apologize. Bryan appeared on the April 18, 2010, episode of Celebrity Apprentice alongside fellow country star Emily West. The task for each team was to make over an up-and-coming country star, with Bryan being selected by Team Rock Solid, led by Bill Goldberg, and West being selected by Team Tenacity, led by Cyndi Lauper. Bryan's makeover failed to impress the judges, leading to Rock Solid losing the task. Bryan's single Rain Is a Good Thing and West's single Blue Sky were both sold on iTunes, with a month's worth of sales being donated to Lauper's charity, the Stonewall Community Foundation, resulting in $25,000 being raised. 2011 to 2013, Tailgates and Tan Lines. Bryan released his third EP, Spring Break 3, It's a Sure Thing, on February 25, 2011, featuring 4 new songs: In Love with the Girl, If You Ain't Here to Party, Sure Thing, and Love in a College Town. This release was followed by Bryan's 7th single, Country Girl, Shake It For Me, which was released on March 14, 2011. Also co-written by Bryan and Davidson, 22, it served as the lead-off single to his third studio album, Tailgates and Tan Lines, which was released August 9, 2011. The album peaked at number 1 on the Top Country Albums chart and number 2 on the Billboard 200 chart. Country Girl peaked at number 4 on the country music charts and number 22 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. The album's next 3 singles, I Don't Want This Night to End, Drunk on You, and Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye, all reached number 1 on the country music charts. Bryan, along with Eric Church, sang guest vocals on Jason Aldean's The Only Way I Know, the second single from his 2012 album, Night Train. On March 6, 2012, Bryan released his 4th Spring Break EP entitled Spring Break 4, Suntan City. Along with the title track, which Bryan co-wrote with Dallas Davidson, Red Akins, and Ben Hayslip, the EP includes Spring Break Up, Little Bit Later On, and Shake the Sand. On January 30, 2013, Bryan announced his first compilation album, Spring Break, Here to Party, which includes 14 songs, 12 from his previous Spring Break EPs and 2 new tracks. It was released on March 5. The album debuted at number 1 on both the Billboard Top Country Albums chart and the Billboard 200 chart, becoming the first album of his career to top the all-genre album chart. One of the new Spring Break songs, Buzzkill, reached the top 20 on the Hot Country Songs chart. 2013 to 2015, Crash My Party. Luke Bryan's 4th studio album, Crash My Party, was released on August 12, 2013. The album's first single, Crash My Party, was premiered in a performance at the 2013 ACM Awards and released on April 7, 2013. It reached number 1 on the country airplay chart in July 2013. The album's second single, That's My Kind of Night, was released to country radio on August 5, 2013. It reached number 1 on the Hot Country Songs chart in August 2013 and peaked at number 2 on the country airplay chart in October 2013. The album's third single, Drink a Beer, was released to country radio on October 24, 2013. It reached number 1 on the Hot Country Songs chart in January 2014 and number 1 on the country airplay chart in February 2014. During the kickoff show for his 2014 That's My Kind of Night tour in Columbus, Ohio, Bryan announced to the crowd that Play It Again would become the album's 4th single. This song reached number 1 on both the Hot Country Songs and country airplay charts in May 2014. At the same time, Bryan sang guest vocals on Florida Georgia Line's 2014 single This Is How We Roll. On July 14, 2014, the song Roller Coaster was released as the album's 5th single. It reached number 1 on the country airplay chart in October 2014. The album's 6th single, I See You, was released to country radio on November 3, 2014. It reached number 1 on the Hot Country Songs and country airplay charts in February 2015. On March 11, 2014, Bryan began his 6th year of spring performances at Spinnaker Beach Club in Panama City Beach, Florida. On the same day, he also released his 6th Spring Break EP, Spring Break 6, Like We Ain't Ever. Bryan is the only country music artist to release an album of 6 number 1 singles on both the Billboard's Hot Country Songs and country airplay charts. 2015 to 2018, Kill the Lights and What Makes You Country. On November 11, 2014, it was confirmed that Bryan had begun writing and recording songs for his upcoming 5th studio album. His last Spring Break album, Spring Break, Checkin' Out, was released on March 10, 2015. It includes the 6 songs from the previous year's EP and 5 original new songs. On May 19, 2015, Bryan released his first single from his fifth studio album, Kill the Lights, Kick the Dust Up, which peaked at number 1 on the country airplay chart. He co-wrote over half of the songs on this album. This album provides not only his country flair, but also has tracks that include a disco-type beat along with the songs of romance. The album's second single, Strip It Down, was released to country radio on August 4, 2015. The album was released on August 7. Kill the Lights sold 345,000 total copies its first week and beat out Dr. Dre's Compton to debut at number 1 on the Billboard 200 chart. Strip It Down went number 1 in October 2015, making 14 cumulative number 1s. The album's third single, Home Alone Tonight, released to country radio on November 23, 2015. The song also became his 15th song to reach number 1. The album's fourth single, Huntin', Fishin' and Lovin' Every Day, released to country radio on March 14, 2016. All 6 of the singles released from Bryan's Kill the Lights album reached number 1 on the Billboard Country Airplay chart, making Bryan the first artist in the 27-year history of the chart to achieve 6 number 1 singles from one album. It was announced that Bryan would perform at halftime of the 2015 Thanksgiving matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and Carolina Panthers. In 2016, Bryan was selected as one of 30 artists to perform on Forever Country, a mashup track of Take Me Home, Country Roads, On the Road Again, and I Will Always Love You, which celebrates 50 years of the CMA Awards. On February 5, 2017, Bryan performed the national anthem at Super Bowl 51 at NRG Stadium in Houston, TX.IN. September 2017, Bryan was announced as a judge for the revival of American Idol on ABC. Bryan released Light It Up in mid-2017. It served as the lead-off single to his 6th album, What Makes You Country, which was released on December 8, 2017. Most People Are Good and Sunrise, Sunburn, Sunset were released as the album's second and third singles, respectively. The album's fourth single, the album's title track, released to country radio on October 22, 2018. When American Idol returned for another season on ABC, Bryan returned along with Katy Perry and Lionel Richie as judges. 2019 to 2021, Born Here, Live Here, Die Here. Knockin' Boots was released to country radio in March 2019 in October 2019. What She Wants Tonight was released to country radio as the second single from his upcoming album in January 2020. Bryan announced his next album would be titled Born Here, Live Here, Die Here and was scheduled to be released on April 24, 2020. The announcement of the album followed the announcement of his upcoming Proud to Be Right Here tour. On March 13, 2020, One Margarita was released as the third single from his upcoming album. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Bryan delayed the release of the album to August 7, 2020, and rescheduled the Proud to Be Right Here tour to 2021. On June 12, 2020, Bryan released the track Build Me a Daddy along with a music video for the song on October 19, 2020. The song Down to One was made the fourth single from the album. A deluxe edition of Born Here, Live Here, Die Here, released on April 9, 2021. Produced the album's fifth single, Waves, as well as its sixth single, Up, which was released on October 11, 2021. In October, it was announced that Bryan would host the 55th Annual Country Music Association Awards for the first time, making him the first solo host in 18 years. Hosting. Bryan hosted the 50th Annual ACM Awards in 2015 with fellow country singer Blake Shelton. He sang I See You and won Entertainer of the Year. His first time hosting the CMA Awards was in 2021. The awards show was held in Nashville, Tennessee, and Bryan also won Entertainer of the Year. He hosted the CMA Awards again the next year with retired NFL quarterback Peyton Manning. Philanthropy. Bryan has supported numerous charities and causes, including the City of Hope and Red Cross. Past causes Bryan supported were AIDS and HIV, cancer, children's disaster relief, health, and human rights. Following the death of her niece, Bryan's wife Caroline established Brett's Barn in her honor. Brett's Barn, located on their family farm, is a sanctuary for rescue animals that invites sick children to spend time with the over 20 animals they host on the farm. She and Bryan are also on the board of directors of the Brett Boyer Foundation, which raises awareness for Down syndrome and congenital heart disease. The organization also hosts a number of fundraisers to raise money for research, including Bike for Brett, which occurs annually on World Down Syndrome Day. Other ventures. Crash My Playa. Crash My Playa is a 4-night all-inclusive concert vacation hosted by Luke Bryan in Cancun, Mexico. Past performers include Blake Shelton, Jason Aldean, Florida Georgia Line, Dierks Bentley, Chris Stapleton, Little Big Town, Sam Hunt, Dustin Lynch, Luke Combs, and Thomas Rhett. Luke's 32 Bridge Food Plus Drink. Luke's 32 Bridge Food Plus Drink is located in the heart of Broadway Street in Nashville, Tennessee. The 30,000 square feet multi-level entertainment facility features 6 levels, 8 bars, 3 stages with live music and 2 restaurants. 32 Bridge Entertainment. Luke Bryan started his own record label, 32 Bridge Entertainment, under the Universal Music Group Nashville umbrella. In 2018, John Langston became the first artist signed to the new label. Artistry. Vocals. Bryan possesses a high baritone vocal range of 2 octaves from A2 to A4. Commenting on his vocal performance in Tailgates and Tan Lines, Slant Magazine's Jonathan Kiefer described Bryan's voice as a pleasant, if slightly nasal, baritone. Influences. Bryan has cited country artists George Strait, Alan Jackson, Alabama, and Merle Haggard as influences on his career. He also cited hip-hop bands Beastie Boys and Run DMC as a source of inspiration in an interview with the Huffington Post, noting, "I think there's been somewhat of a change with our generation. You know, nobody grew up more countryer than me, but I mean, I had Beastie Boys playing on little boomboxes and Run DMC and all forms of music, so through the years, I just think it's all constantly blending together."